Goedenavond, dames en heren. Mijn naam is Sarah Jeffery, and this is Andrea Voets op harp. This evening, I'm going to go further in English because we're also live streaming. But if any of you would like to come and chat to me in het Nederlands after the concert, then feel free to come and do so in the bar. Let me say that first bit again in English. My name is Sarah Jeffery. This is Andrea Voets on harp. And tonight is a special evening. It is the release concert of my book, My Favourite Melodies. Now, some of you here in the audience live tonight are here as part of the Splendor audience, this wonderful concert podium here in Amsterdam. So for you, it may be completely new. For those of you watching at home on the live stream, I'm guessing that you're fans of Team Recorder, which is my YouTube channel, where I give lessons all about the recorder, the Blokfluit. A week or two ago, I released my first book, published by Shot Music and supported by Molenhaar Recorders. This is a book of 14 pieces for soprano or tenor recorder and accompaniment. And I thought it would be really nice to play the book as a concert, which is what this evening is. It really is my favorite melodies, all of my favorite music that I love to play with some of my very dear friends. The first piece, which is the first piece in the book, was called Dear Irish Boy, an Irish folk tune that actually I got to know through playing with Andrea, who I have known for 16 years now. We met each other on our very first day of conservatory when I moved to the Netherlands 16 years ago, and we've since made a lot of productions together. So I had to put this in the book. Lovely. If you are a recorder player or a musician who plays any instrument in C, flute, violin, oboe, not trumpet, sorry. You can play these pieces, and we also have backing tracks for all of the compositions, also with harp. The other things to come in the book, you will see later. We are going to continue by going back to the 14th century, medieval Italy, with one of my favorite estampis. An estampi was a dance tune. They typically exist unaccompanied, but I couldn't resist putting it together with some of my favorite chords. As you can see, you can choose to play these on all different kinds of recorder. They're notated in C. I don't know if any of you have seen this kind of recorder before. blokfluit. It's what we call a ganassi soprano, so a normal soprano recorder, but it's very, very wide, and that gives it a really big sound. This was modeled after recorders depicted in the 16th century, and modern recorder builders have had to get quite creative with imagining how they would have been built and how they would have sounded. And this one is actually my favorite recorder in my collection. We're continuing with a piece by Jacob van Eyck, a Dutch composer who lived in Utrecht in the 17th century. He was a very special character. He was a blind carillon player. He made bells. He was also employed by the gemeente of Utrecht, the Utrecht Town Council, to sit on the Janskerkhof and play tunes to entertain / frighten away the local teenagers. He would improvise on popular tunes of the day, and he collected all of these popular 17th century pop songs from all over Europe. Improvise variations upon them. Eventually, he had them all written down, and he published them in a vast volume called the Fluitenlusthof. And this is actually the largest collection of music for any solo instrument. Not for piano, harp, violin, it's for the recorder. So I'm very, very proud of that. This piece is called Doen Daphne. If you've ever watched my YouTube channel, it's the piece that I always demonstrate recorders with because it's so beautiful. So the viewers of my channel tend to know it as that piece. So of course I had to put it in the book. Van Eyck liked it so much, he actually wrote multiple sets of variations on it. And I've combined variations from 2 of his versions to make this version today. His book is unaccompanied, but I took the original song and added an accompaniment, which we will play on harp. Mm-hmm. Thank you. When I was putting this book together, I had so much fun not only thinking about the pieces I wanted to include, how they would sound on the recorder, but also what kind of accompaniment I wanted to play them with. You've heard the harp. It's no secret that behind me I have a grand piano, but there is also a section of my book accompanied by harpsichord. When making the backing tracks, I played with the fantastic British harpsichord player Robin Bigwood. Unfortunately, he can't be here tonight, but I thought this was a wonderful opportunity to show you the backing tracks that we've made with this book. Andrea's just moving the harp out of the way. So I'm going to play a couple of these compositions with the harpsichord, but virtually. We're continuing with a piece by John Dowland, English composer, king of the melancholy, actually with one of his more jolly pieces. This is called the Earl of Essex Galliard. I chose this piece because it has this wonderful interplay of rhythms between 3 and 2, and I actually got quite creative choosing the melodies from not only the top part, but also the inner voices. This was originally written for a consort of 5 viols. And I also added some of my own variations. I hope you enjoy. We are staying in the Baroque period, but I'd like to play some of these with live accompaniment as well. So I'd like to invite my pianist, Anne Veinberg, to the stage. The next piece in my book is by Henry Purcell. It's his rondo from Abdelazar. Looking for any signs of recognition in the audience. The name might not say much, but I'm sure as soon as you hear it, it's, oh, this one. It's famous for 2 main reasons I can think of. One, it's the theme used by Benjamin Britten in his Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra. It's also used in the very dramatic dance scene in the most recent version of Pride and Prejudice, starring Keira Knightley. And it's one of these melodies that I just love. some of the choices in my book are very, very well known, the real kind of universal favorites. And I've enjoyed combining these with some of my personal favorites from lesser known composers, more unusual sources, but I really enjoy introducing my audience to these pieces. This next composer is a French composer writing in the Italian style, Michel Blavet. He wrote beautiful flute sonatas for the traverso flute, and these work beautifully on the recorder as well. I've chosen two movements, the andante and minuetto from his Sonata Secunda. This is a piece that I've enjoyed playing for years and years and years, and it really makes me think of a long corridor in a regal palace in the French 18th century, and you can see the king or the queen and all of their courtiers processing along the corridor towards you. It's very grand. I hope you enjoy. For my next piece, I took the challenge of condensing an entire cantata down into a recorder line. This is from Handel's cantata Tra la fiamma, the aria Voli per l'aria ch'io può volare. Why I chose this, when I first moved to Amsterdam, I lived with a Baroque violinist in a really nice apartment in the Barrishes. We had a great time. She used to play this on the CD player in our living room all the time, back when we had CD players in the living room. And I just completely fell in love with this particular aria because of a bass line that you will undoubtedly hear coming back. The aria is with a whole continuo string section, 2 recorders, accidentally, and a singer. And I've taken the recorder line, the vocal line, and the bass line and combined it all into what I'm going to play, of course, with an accompaniment. Handel. We're emerging from the Baroque period and into the classical era. with a rondo by Joseph Bologna Chevalier de Saint-Georges. Now, this is a composer who is happily getting more attention in the media recently. There is actually a movie coming out soon called Chevalier about this composer. He was one of the first black classical composers to reach recognition and reach fame, though his works aren't yet well enough known. He had a fascinating life. He was part of the French aristocracy and actually lived with Mozart. And one of his great friends and patrons was Marie Antoinette. So he was at the top of society, a gifted composer, conductor, violinist. But later he left the musical world and became a soldier and actually headed the first regiment in the French army of soldiers of African descent. Sadly, a lot of his works aren't as well known as they should be, but things are changing now, which is very nice. This is a delightful classical rondo from his harpsichord quartet. Oh, this next piece is really one of my favorite melodies. I've actually surreptitiously started trying to work it into my YouTube videos as my go-to melody of choice instead of Daphne by Van Eyck, because I give that a lot of exposure already. And I think this one is just as beautiful. It's the Sicilienne, attributed to both Maria Theresia von Paradis and Samuel Dushkin. It's typically played on violin or cello, and it was made famous by Jacqueline Dupré. It's got one of the most beautiful rising semitone melodies you will ever hear. This is Sicilian. Those of you listening carefully will have undoubtedly noticed in the Sicilian I was starting the trills on the lower note, yet in the Baroque pieces I was beginning them on the upper note. What's going on? Don't worry, if you are somebody playing these pieces with the book, there are actually 14 accompanying tutorial videos, one with every piece. This is because the inspiration, the impetus for the book is from my YouTube channel where I publish weekly video tutorials about music. So if you're starting one of these pieces, you can just click on the video and I tell you all about how I would approach it. We're continuing now deep into the Romantic period with some Clara Schumann, a beautiful lied called Ich stand in dunklen Traumen. No book would be complete without some showstoppers. So without further ado, this is Czardash by Monti. Thank you. Oh, it's so much fun. Always fun, always fun. We have a couple of modern pieces in the book as well. The first one I've chosen is called Water Lily by Barbara Heller. This is beautiful, lush chords, very lyrical lines, and it's really a duet between the piano and the recorder. So I felt like Water Lily, I've got to have this one in the book. Short and sweet. We continue with Invisible Poem by Victor Alcántara. This is more in the cinematic, sweeping, kind of slightly jazzy style. Yes, and I love this one too. Yeah, I'm going to say some more about Splendor, but after this one. are about to hear the final piece of the program. But before I play that, there's quite a few people I need to thank. Let's start with the book. First of all, to Shot Music, and in particular my editor Astrid, who was very patient with me, for commissioning this book. The musicians involved, actually, let's have some applauses. Anne Veinberg on piano. We have had Robin Bigwood on harpsichord. And Andrea Voets on harp. All of these tracks are also available on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, to listen to and to play along to. Also to Mollenhauer, who, if you're not a recorder player, you may not know, but they made these beautiful instruments, have supported us there. And of course, to all of you Team Recorder viewers watching at home, without the people taking the time to watch my YouTube channel about recorders every week, this book would not have been commissioned. We would not have put this music together. So this recorder world has really become a community. So thank you to everybody who is in it. I also want to thank the people who are here, who may not necessarily be recorder players. Actually, are any of you here recorder players? A couple, okay, fantastic, brilliant. But then I get to tell you about Splendor, which is a different community. Splendor is a podium, a stage, a hall, also a studio, an artists, musicians meeting place in the center of Amsterdam. And it is kept running by its members. Its members are the audience members who come and support our concerts. And it's very special because that's how the entire building is run. Anyone can become a member. It costs €10 per month, €120 per year, and you get, for that, you get 60 free concerts. So we have a big pool of members who support the building, and in return for that, they get lots and lots of music, and it's really become a community. Afterwards, we're all going to go and have a chat in the bar. So I'm looking at the people sitting here. I know a lot of you are members, but if you're not and you'd like to become one, you can. You can also, I think you can introduce somebody for €5 a month. There's all kinds of things. Students get €5 a month instead of 10 if you're under 30. Well, we basically just want to make music available and make it possible, which is the same philosophy I have with my YouTube channel. I want to make classical music available and accessible for everybody, whether you are able to come and sit in the hall with me or you're sitting at your computer at home in a place very far away from where we are now. So after that speech, this is me just thanking all of you for being here as well. We're going to end with actually the second piece in the book, and this is a real favorite. It is the Wellerman Variations. Dare I say it, cast your mind back to the beginning of 2021. Do we really want to go there? Well, what happened then? Sea shanties became really popular on social media. There was a particular sea shanty called the Wellerman that for a month took social media by storm. We were all staying inside a lot at that point. And I decided to take this folk tune, this sea shanty, and write variations on it in the style of VANUIT, who you have already heard. And this became the Wellerman Variations. It's in my book. To tease something, in June, we will also be publishing this in a standalone edition, also for the alto recorder. And yeah, it's also one of my favorite things to play. So thank you for being here, and we're going to end with the Wellerman. A sea shanty is a folk song sung on boats, basically.